The Assassin.
You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest. You know I break necks, call me Jack Tate. I have no regrets while your life is fading. I'm a crazy fuck equivalent to Satan. When I'm behind the mic, I feel like the greatest.
What up, y'all? You're listening to Sports Talk with Tropp, and I'm your host, Katie Tropp. Well, it's official. Today is the start of football season. So hell yeah, all of us crazy, insane football fans, we can be excited again. Some training camps kicked off today, and the rest will kick off tomorrow. So everybody starts training camp for sure tomorrow. But a few teams started today, and it's just fucking great to finally have football season back on tap. I mean, when you're a football fan, it feels like from February until now is like the longest time in the freaking world because you just want it to be football season again. So it's fucking great that all of our teams, nobody's won yet, nobody's lost, so we can all have dreams of hopefully winning the Super Bowl. I know. I'm a Cowboys fan, so doubtful that they're going to be winning the Super Bowl, but hey, I can still have hopes with them right now. They haven't lost shit yet, but they got a tough schedule ahead of them. But so yeah, start of football season today. It is a happy day for sports fans. But before we get into more sports, I just wanted to let y'all know that I dropped a new lyric video for my single called Nuts and Crazy that you can check out on my website, katietrop.net, or my official YouTube channel, youtube.com/katietrop. Check it out. All right, so let's get right to it. Let's get to the top 10 MLB Power Rankings for this week. We had a little bit of a shakeup, especially in the top three this week, because we do have a new number one. Actually, the top three, it was difficult really to pick between the three because I think they're all doing well. But number one was pretty overwhelming to me just because of what they've done pre-All-Star break, but definitely this past weekend, and that would be the Houston Astros. They are 64-32 on the season. 7-3 in their last 10 games. They're on a 5-game winning streak, and they just swept both teams that they faced this week. The first team they faced off against were the New York Yankees. They swept them in 2 games. Then they played the Seattle Mariners, literally the hottest team in the league. Their division rival, who was on a 14-game winning streak, and not only did the Astros stop that winning streak, but they were unable to get a win against the Astros this weekend. And it was just dominating fashion. I mean, Justin Verlander, he now leads the league once again with wins this season with 13 wins, and he's got a 1.86 ERA right now. So, and he had another dominating start yesterday. Had, I believe, 7 strikeouts. And Jose Altuve, he's continuing to dominate as well. He came right out and had a home run on the first pitch. He also leads the league in that statistic as well with first pitch home runs. Yordan Alvarez, he continues to have a spectacular season. Kyle Tucker, he's still having a great year. So it's just the Houston Astros are such a complete team. And they beat 2 really good teams this weekend, and they dominated them also. Like the Yankees, just their offense stalled. And then also the Mariners did too. So I had to put the Astros at number 1, even though it was difficult because at number 2, I have the Los Angeles Dodgers. And, they're currently on an 8-game winning streak, 9-1 in their last 10 games. And they swept my San Francisco Giants this weekend for the first time since 1995. So, yeah, I was in 5th grade the last time the Dodgers swept the Giants in a series. But the Giants, they decided not to show up this weekend against the Dodgers. They made a couple games interesting, but it didn't really look like they were going to go anywhere, of course. But the Dodgers, they just continue to dominate as well. Their overall record right now is 64-30. And Trey Turner, he's still having a great season. Mookie Betts is still having a great season. And then the addition of Freddie Freeman, he's having a great season. And you're also hearing rumblings that there's a good possibility that the Dodgers are going to trade for Juan Soto. And that's going to fucking piss me off. If the freaking Dodgers get Juan Soto, I might fucking rip my goddamn hair out. Just because it's like, can Can the Dodgers stop getting all the greatest players in the freaking league? I mean, Jesus Christ, they signed Freddie Freeman this offseason. They've got Mookie Betts, for Christ's sake. They traded for Trey Turner last year. Can people stop giving the Dodgers every fucking thing in the world? Jesus, if they get Juan Soto, that's going to piss me the fuck off. But they're at number 2 this week on my Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings. Then at number 3, I have the New York Yankees. Did not fall that far, but like I said, they got swept by the Astros earlier in the weekend. They did end up bouncing back against Baltimore. Baltimore did beat them in one of the games. So they didn't absolutely dominate, but they still had a good weekend. Overall record of 66-31. They lead the league with wins, with 66 wins. So they're still dominating the league. Aaron Judge, he still continues to dominate. He had a hell of a weekend. He increased his home run lead to 37, and he has 81 RBIs, which is only second to Pete Alonso with 82 RBIs. So Aaron Judge continues to rake. And then Cole, he had a great pitching outing this weekend. And then Nestor Cortez, he also still continues to dominate. So the Yankees, they're still an all-around great team. It's just they got swept by the Astros, so there was no way I could put them above the Astros, and there wasn't any way I could put them up against the Dodgers either, because the Dodgers have had a better couple of weeks as opposed to the Yankees. But in my opinion, the Yankees are still one of the top teams in the league, and even though they fell to number 3, there's a good shot they'll be number 1 next week. So they're at number 3 this week. Then at number 4 on my Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings are the Toronto Blue Jays. Man, they had one hell of a weekend. Their overall record right now is 53-43. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games, and they're on a 6-game winning streak. And this weekend, they just swept the Boston Red Sox. And not only did they sweep the Red Sox and win all the games they played this weekend against the Red Sox, but they slaughtered the Red Sox. They outscored the Boston Red Sox this weekend 40-10. Yeah, 40-10. 4-0 is how many runs the Blue Jays scored this week. It was 40. And hell, on the first game on Friday night, Toronto actually won the game 28-5. It was an absolute drubbing by the Blue Jays. There was even an inside the park grand slam that happened in this game. So it was a very odd weekend from the Red Sox, just because they've been doing pretty well the last couple of months, but they're looking very rocky and shaky. Right before the All-Star break, they kind of were falling apart, and now they're really starting to fall apart. So who knows what's going to happen with the Red Sox, but the Blue Jays are on fire. They really turned it on offensively, and they also had great pitching this weekend as well. Then at number 5 on my Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings of the New York Mets. Overall record of 59-37, 6-4 in their last 10 games. They played the San Diego Padres this weekend. And like I said earlier before, Pete Alonso, he leads the league right now in RBIs with 82 RBIs, and he just had a great weekend. He's had a great season overall, but this weekend he basically had a home run in every game, and if he didn't have a home run, he was making big plays. So Pete Alonso, I don't think he's getting a lot of love for the possibility of the NL MVP this year, but he should definitely be considered. And then they also traded for Vogelbach from the Pittsburgh Pirates right before the All-Star break, I believe, and so he played his first game this weekend with the Mets, and he actually ended up getting his first hit, which was a single, and it ended up driving in a run. So it looks like whatever trade they made, it improved their already stellar batting lineup. Then at number 6 on my Tropp 10 MLB Power Rankings, I have the Atlanta Braves. Overall record of 58-39, 6-4 in their last 10 games. This weekend they almost swept the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels did end up getting the win yesterday. But Ronald Acuna, he had a great weekend. Dansby Swanson, he continues to not only have a good season with his bat, but he's also playing great defensively. He made some huge plays this weekend for the Braves. Then you also had Kyle Wright, who just came out and had an absolutely dominating performance with 8 strikeouts. And then Marcell Ozuna, he just continues to have another great season as well, where he is just driving in really key runs and being a huge offensive force for the Braves. Then at number 7 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings have the Milwaukee Brewers. Overall record of 53-43, 5-5 in their last 10 games. They did sweep the Rockies this weekend. Actually, I think they play again tonight, but they did win all 3 games this weekend. So they kicked the crap out of the Rockies. Andrew McCutchen, man, it seemed like he was getting written off. Especially this offseason. It didn't look like a lot of people were really interested in what services he had, and the Brewers took a chance on him. And so far, McCutchen has really panned out for them. Not only with his bat, but defensively, he has been a savior for them. Then you also have Hunter Renfroe, who came off the injured list right before the All-Star break, and he has just been hitting home runs like no other. I believe he's got 3 home runs, 3 games with a home run in a row. So Hunter Renfroe, he's back on it, and he's back from his injury. And then the starting pitching, they still continue to dominate. And then Josh Hader, he's still the best closer in the league. And the Brewers, they're playing great baseball currently at this point in time. Then at number 8 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings have the Minnesota Twins. Overall record of 52-44, 5-5 in their last 10 games. This past weekend they played at the Detroit Tigers. Sonny Gray had a dominating pitching performance. Luis Arias, he leads the league with the highest batting average, and he just had a great weekend as well, where he basically got on base every single game. And then also Gio Urshela. I was surprised that the Yankees ended up letting him go last year, in the offseason, and trading him away. But they did have to trade away for what they got, and hey, they did get a good player with Kiner Falefa. So I can't complain about him, but it's just I was really shocked that they let Urshela go, because I always thought he was going to be a pretty solid player, and so far for the Twins, he has been he's been a force, not just with the bat, but also defensively as well. Then at number 9 on my Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings have the Chicago White Sox. They're currently 48-48, but they are 7-3 in their last 10 games, and they just took 2 of 3 from the Cleveland Guardians this weekend. But even before, right before the All-Star break, that week before, the White Sox really started to get hot offensively. Their pitching's really started to pick it up. And then this weekend, they really played well against the Guardians. Eloy Jimenez, he seems to have really found his stride behind the plate. We always have known that he's a very solid player, especially with the bat, but he's just been cold and very streaky actually this season. But he definitely turned it on this weekend. And then A.J. Pollock as well, the outfielder who they traded for from the Dodgers this offseason, he also had a great week. So the White Sox, while they've been a very streaky team this season, right now they are on, and they are currently at number 9 on my Trop 10 this week. And then rounding out the Trop 10 MLB Power Rankings of the St. Louis Cardinals. Overall record of 51-46, 6-4 in their last 10 games. This weekend they played the Cincinnati Reds. And Paul Goldschmidt, he's just continuing to have a great, dominating season. He had 2 home runs in yesterday's game. Then he also had another home run in another game, and he also earlier in the week in the weekend hit for his 1,000th career RBI. So Paul Goldschmidt, he has really had a great season, and he's been a driving force as to why the Cardinals have been able to stay competitive so far this season. So that's the Trop 10 this week. And then just some interesting news, and the reason why I found it interesting because it's kind of humorous, because if you recall, about a month and a half ago, Nick Saban, the coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide, he's been making it known how he feels about the NIL, the name, image, and likeness rule that came into effect last year with college players, and how they can get paid and all that jazz. And Nick Saban has not been a fan of it at all. He's voiced his opinion about it on numerous occasions, just how he thinks it's ruining the sport, blah, blah, blah. Well, in an interesting turn of events here, Alabama has decided to partner up with the sporting goods store called Fanatics. If you are a sports fan, I'm sure you are quite familiar with Fanatics, because I am. I've purchased many mini sports merchandise from Fanatics. So if you are a sports fan, you probably have purchased something from Fanatics. And if you aren't aware, well, Fanatics, they also do special partnerships with certain teams, and they now, for the first time ever in college sports, have partnered up with Alabama. And it's actually a really good deal, I think, for both the company of Fanatics, for the school of Alabama, but also for any of the players who play sports at Alabama. Because there's going to be a special Fanatics store located in Alabama. It's going to sell merchandise, Alabama merchandise, of course. But then it's also going to have certain events where they'll have like autograph sessions, so some players can actually make money off of their autographs, and it's going to be a great thing for all parties involved. But most importantly, it's going to be great for the NIL, which is something that Nick Saban, the coach of Alabama, has had a problem with. But now I'm sure he's totally fine with this because it's his school. And this also it really helps actually raise the profile. I mean, as if Alabama didn't already attract all the best top recruits in college sports. But now they're really going to, not just with football, because football, they've definitely dominated over the last decade. So they don't have a problem with football recruits, but now this is really going to elevate the playing field for Alabama just in every single sport across the board, because now they got Fanatics here. This is 100%. You're going to get paid if you actually are a player that people are interested in getting autographs from or buying jerseys from. So this is a good deal for all parties involved, but it's just hilarious that it happened with Alabama, because I'm sure Nick Saban has no issues with this deal. And I expect to see more deals like this as time goes on, because, the NIL, it's really opened up many avenues for student athletes to get paid now. So I think that's a good thing, because they do deserve to get paid, especially with all the money that all these colleges pull in. So, but it just was really funny to see that happen, and have it be Alabama be the first team to break ground with Fanatics. So we'll see how that goes. I expect it to be a good partnership for all parties involved. All right, and there wasn't a lot of sports this week because of the All-Star break during the week, and then, baseball started getting going again during the weekend, and then now football season, training camps kick off this week, so not a lot went on this weekend, but David Ortiz, he did get inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and as much as I rant about how much I hate the Baseball Hall of Fame, I do think Big Papi deserved to go into the Hall of Fame, and he was a legendary baseball player, but a legendary Red Sox for sure. And so since he was inducted into the Hall of Fame yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and do a Tropp 5 David Ortiz moments. But first, let's go ahead and do a few career highlights of Big Papi. He was drafted by the Minnesota Twins. He played for the Twins from 1997 to 2002. Then he was released by the Twins and picked up by the Boston Red Sox in 2003. And he was a Boston Red Sox from 2003 to 2016. I think the majority of baseball fans remember him as a Red Sox, even though he did play a long time with the Twins. But the majority of his success and the majority of his dominance was definitely when he was with the Red Sox. He has a career batting average of .286. He's got 2,472 hits, 541 home runs, and 1,768 RBIs. So stat line, he's definitely got it to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's also a 10-time All-Star, a 3-time World Series champion, all with the Boston Red Sox, 7-time Silver Slugger Award winner. He was the AL home run leader in 2006. He was also a 3-time AL RBI leader. And he's won World Series MVP as well as an ALCS MVP. And one thing that I really have always liked and respected about Big Papi is that, because full disclosure, I fucking hate the Red Sox. I hate the Dodgers. That's my number one least favorite baseball team. But the Boston Red Sox are a strong number two. I fucking hate the Red Sox. As a matter of fact, them being number two is perfect, because they are a fucking number 2. That's for goddamn sure. So the fact that I'm even highlighting David Ortiz goes to show you how much I respect the dude. But one thing I've always respected about him and his career in particular is that he always shined when he needed to. When the Red Sox needed a big hit, if Big Papi was coming out to the plate, you knew there was a chance that they were going to win. And he stepped it up every time, especially come postseason time. He was there when the Red Sox won their first championship. Back in 2004 is when they won their first championship, and that broke the curse of the Bambino. That was their 100-year long. I mean, the Red Sox and the Cubs both used to be the laughing stocks of the league with how long it took for them to win World Series. And so Big Papi was a huge reason as to not only why they finally broke that curse, but actually ended up going on to win a couple more World Series after the fact. So let's kick it off with the Tropp 5 David Ortiz moments of his career. Kicking it off with number 5. September 30th, 2016 was actually his final game in Boston. And in true Big Papi fashion, he ended up hitting the game-winning 2-run home run to take the Red Sox off into the night with a win, with a 4-2 win. And I just felt like that was the perfect end for his career, for him to come up to bat when he needed to and put his team ahead no matter the circumstances. Then at number 4 on my Tropp 5 David Ortiz moments, I have in 2006. He hit 54 home runs, which ended up breaking the Boston Red Sox team record held by their Hall of Famer Jimmy Fox, who had 50 home runs. And so that was a record for quite some time for the Red Sox until 2006. And actually, Big Papi ended up breaking the record by hitting home run number 51 against the Minnesota Twins, the team that ended up releasing him 3 years prior. And he ended up hitting this home run off of Johan Santana. And if you recall, he used to be one of the most dominating pitchers in the league, especially at that time. That was a Cy Young Award-winning pitcher right there. So not only did he break the Boston Red Sox home run record that year with 54, but he broke the overall record against his old team, against a Cy Young winning amazing pitcher in Johan Santana. Then at number 3 on my Tropp 5 David Ortiz moments, I have October 8th of 2004. The ALDS versus the Los Angeles Angels, Game 3. Now, at this point, the Boston Red Sox actually had a very dominating league. They were actually up. They did end up sweeping the Angels in this series, and this was the first year that they won the World Series as well. So this was a big deal at the time, especially. But in Game 3, in the bottom of the 10th, it was all tied up, of course, because they were in the 10th inning. And Big Papi ended up walking up to the plate. He hit a walk-off home run in the 10th inning off of Jared Washburn. And this would just end up being a sweep, and they would move on to the ALCS against the dreaded New York Yankees. So then at number 2, that leads us to number 2 on my Tropp 5 David Ortiz moments, October 17th of 2004. Notice that's the same year. It's the following week, as a matter of fact, in the ALCS versus the New York Yankees. At this point in time, the Boston Red Sox are down 3-0 in the ALCS. So you're looking at this like, oh, God, they're here. Goodbye to the Red Sox. There ain't no way this team's winning a World Series, right? Well, it turns out in this Game 4, Big Papi would be the turning point of this entire series. So basically, in Game 4, he stole a base in the 9th inning, and he ended up getting in scoring position and would end up tying the game. And so it would go into the 12th inning, and Big Papi would come up to bat, and he ended up hitting the walk-off home run against Paul Quantrill in the 12th inning to go on and win this game. And this would, of course, the Red Sox would still be down 3-1, and so nobody's really thinking that this team's going to come back and win. Well, guess what? They would end up not losing another game in the ALCS, and they would end up going on to the World Series that year. But before that, David Ortiz was ended up being named the MVP of the ALCS because not only was he like the reason why that series turned around, but he just had a dominating series, and he just kept it up all the way through that championship series. So he got the MVP there. And then so at number 1 on my Tropp 5 David Ortiz moments, it's all 3 of his World Series wins, starting with 2004 when they would break the curse of the Bambino when they swept the St. Louis Cardinals, one of the most historic teams, one of the most historically sound teams, a team that always wins in the World Series, ended up getting swept by the never win anything Boston Red Sox. And in that postseason, Big Papi would end up hitting a 400 batting average with 5 home runs and 23 RBIs. Then the second World Series that the Boston Red Sox won was in 2007. They ended up sweeping the Colorado Rockies, and it was just in dominating fashion. I mean, the Red Sox really just took it to the Rockies. It was kind of like the Rockies didn't even realize they were playing in the World Series, which was kind of weird. But for that entire postseason, Papi would end up having a 370 batting average with 3 home runs and 10 RBIs. So he was a big deciding factor as to why they would go on and win that year. And then finally, the last of the 3 World Series that David Ortiz would win in his career with the Boston Red Sox was once again against the St. Louis Cardinals. This time it was an actual series, one of which that the Red Sox would go on to win in 4-2. And actually, David Ortiz dominated this World Series. If there is one point in David Ortiz's career that you would point to that was just absolutely dominating, it was either in 2006, the year he won the MVP, and was the AL home run leader, and they would go on to win their first World Series. Other than that year, this year in 2013, he was dominating, especially in this postseason. I mean, in the World Series alone, he batted a 688. Yeah, a 688. And not only that, but he tied a World Series record by reaching base 9 times in a row. And he ended up batting that 688 by getting walked a lot. I mean, because usually, I mean, this basically was invented during the Barry Bonds days. And it would happen to Manny Ramirez a lot too. But you would just end up walking dudes because you knew they were going to come up and just connect and more than likely hit the ball out of the park. And David Ortiz is one of those guys. And so the Cardinals ended up walking him a lot, but still he batted a 688 in the World Series alone. But overall, during that postseason run in 2013, he ended up batting a 353 with 5 home runs and 13 RBIs. And so, yeah, I think 2013 and 2004 were his best seasons by far. And now that I say 2004, I think I just messed up and I said 2006 earlier, a little bit ago. But no, I really meant to say that I think his 2 best seasons were 2004 when they won their first World Series, not 2006. So yeah, like I said, I think those were his 2 best seasons, 2004, 2013. He was by far the face of the Red Sox for sure. He was a huge reason as to why they finally broke their curse. It was cool to see that it kind of felt like when the Twins let him go, that was kind of the end of his career and that the Red Sox were just kind of taking a chance on him. And he really ended up having a huge resurgence with his career, and now he's really become a huge part of the league. Like I said, he definitely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame. It was crazy a few years ago when he was in the Dominican Republic and a drug dealer just ended up walking right up to him and shooting him like execution style. He did end up surviving, obviously, because he's still alive, but that was crazy to if you've never seen that security footage and you're the type of person who could kind of handle that kind of shit, it is crazy to watch somebody just walk right up to David Ortiz, right behind his back, and just pull out a gun and shoot the motherfucker. And so that was just crazy when that happened because, like, it's David Ortiz, man. Like, who the hell does that? But the Dominican Republic's a little bit different place, especially if you are rich. and a huge famous baseball player in America. You and your family aren't really safe when you go to that area. Even if you're from the area, that you still usually aren't safe because people want to fucking kill your ass. And that just goes to show it right there. That's what happened with him. But, other than that, I mean, the dude has just had a phenomenal career. And not only did he have a phenomenal career, he's actually one of my favorite pregame analysts on Fox too. When it comes to baseball, he's got a great personality. He knows baseball really well. When he talks about it, you could tell the dude's been playing it for the majority of his life. And like I said, he's just got a great personality. He makes the show. He even makes Alex Rodriguez interesting, and that says a lot because Alex Rodriguez has got to have one of the driest, most bunk fucking personalities of all time, and he even makes Alex Rodriguez look interesting when they have a conversation together. So congratulations to David Ortiz. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Like I said, well deserved. Even though he has had steroid accusations, nothing like Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, but he still has had the accusations. So just pointing out right there how biased the fucking voters of the Baseball Hall of Fame are. They'll pick and choose who they want to put in, and they probably really enjoyed David Ortiz because, like I said, he's got that great personality. He was pretty much always nice to the media. After the Boston bombing happened, he was like, this is our fucking city. He had that huge speech that he gave right before a Red Sox game, right after that terrorist attack happened. So Poppy is the dude. But it just goes to show that those Baseball Hall of Fame writers, they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they need to reconsider their voting. But like I said, this isn't a rant against them because I do respect Big Poppy. He definitely deserves to be there. He had a stellar career, and the Red Sox could really use him this year. But unfortunately for them, he is long retired. All right, y'all. So enjoy the week of sports. We got baseball on tap. But we also got us some motherfucking football. Preseason's right around the corner. And shit always gets crazy during training camp because dudes get injured. And we still have some moves that need to be made with free agency and trades. So, sports fans, life can begin because training camp started this week. So I will talk to you all on Friday.